Hello, hello, Globies, and welcome to another episode of Glorious Life on Wheels. You know, when I met the subject of today's video, Terry, a 64-year-old senior gentleman, I knew that it was a story that I really wanted to tell. The reason being is that Terry's story is so reflective of many, if not most, seniors that I meet these days. A story where seniors are finding that their lives are getting smaller and smaller when living on Social Security, gradually having to give up just basics, having a car because they can't afford the insurance or their maintenance, not being able to eat out. In fact, not only not being able to eat out, but often having to go to food banks for food. And this story that Terry shared, I think, is something that many of you will relate to. But he came up with a solution that worked for him. It may not work for everyone, but it worked for him, and he now has a much richer life. So I wanted to tell his story. So come on, let's meet Terry. This is part one of a two-part series. In this part, I'm going to tell his background, or he's going to tell his background story. And in part two, we'll do a tour of his trailer. So come on, let's go meet Terry. Well, hello, Terry.
Hello.
One of the reasons I wanted to interview you was because your story is so predictive of what is going to happen to so many people. Mm-hmm. And I want you to share. You're now full-time in your trailer. Mm-hmm. You were telling me you retired in October and gave up your apartment. But can you share with my viewers some of the reasons you had told me as to why you made this decision and why you did it now?
Yes, for the last 20 years I've been working in apartment complexes, and I was a floor installer, and I seen how the older people were getting priced right out and into nursing homes and just passing away.
Or onto the streets, you were saying, some people even.
Yeah, right onto the streets. And it's like, I knew, because I wasn't making that money neither. Once I retired, I was getting the reports from the Social Security office and not making that kind of cash. The owner would never give you any
raises.
No raises. You got no health care, no nothing.
Now, were you seeing the owner of the buildings you were working on, were you seeing him also raising prices of the rents?
Yeah, since COVID, it tripled in prices of his rents of the apartments. Nothing much changed to those apartments. I mean, the square footage and everything else was the same.
You were saying there was a woman. Can you tell us about the woman who lived in your apartment complex?
The woman lived in my apartment right below me. She was barely making it. And the two women, they're both side to side in that same housing, were for years never left the building, never left their apartments, because they were afraid to spend any money.
Oh my.
They were, and when I was working, I had enough money to scrape up to give one of them the TV when everything went digital. Mm-hmm. And the other one was she's still, the only time you see her is take the garbage out, and that's it. And she's in her 90s now. Because
she didn't have any extra spare money to do anything?
Nope.
So,
she had to get rid of her cars.
Oh my.
Because they can't afford them.
So little by little, she was losing everything that gave her independence or even a quality of life.
Yeah. You just don't, I mean, it takes away the rest of the money when you got your everything going out in medical and medical costs and bills and insurances. It was just, she was paying, the lady down below me was paying $400 on top of her Medicare insurance. It's like, she wasn't making that kind of cash to even live up. And she'd go to the pantries to get food and stuff like that.
So you saw basically watching these individuals and how they were suffering and scraping by. It sounds like you saw your future play out in front of you.
Yes. worked for over 2,000 units, and I seen it everywhere. The same thing. Even the ones that were retiring and had a good income got priced right out and had to move home, moved in with their kids.
Wow.
And move wherever.
So we were talking, Terry, and you decided that in order to afford any quality of life, you would need to give up your apartment and move into a trailer. Is that the conclusion you came to?
Yes. It was, I could go and do more things with the amount of money I was going to get.
Okay.
You know, and I was not seeing it going any further. You know, I was already 64, and most of my friends had been passing away, and family members, and it was just time to quit. Your body was not, you know, you worked too hard.
So you felt that you couldn't continue working the type of labor job that you were on.
No.
But once you retired, you knew that the amount of income you had coming in, you would be like the 93-year-old woman that lived below you, just existing to pay rent.
Yeah, and I was there for the 20 years renting at the same place, and she was there. They never moved, never left, you know, and I didn't want to live that way. Retire and.
So now you've been doing this now since October, so you've been about 2 months. So how do you like it? Is it what you imagined it would be like? Is it better, worse?
It's a lot better. That's what I like, this solitude, the when I want it, and the camaraderie of the whole thing when I want that too. You know, so I like the seeing things and going places and doing things.
And you're a single gentleman.
I am.
So now you were telling me that you are going to, during the summer, do what?
During the summer, from here, I'm heading back to my hometown and work on with my sister has a house there. I'm going to work on her house, and possibly I might even do some part-time flooring work or something. But only if I want to now, not everyday grind, you know, to make ends meet. Right now I'm doing fine with Social Security.
So you found that with your Social Security, you're able to take care of your basic needs without having to really scrape by.
Yes, I can take care of all my needs. My matter of fact, my trailer is the same size as my apartment, and I have more space, more cupboard space than my apartment. You know, but I only pay for the insurances on it, and that's pretty much it. It's cheaper than living in an apartment, which I'd be paying $1,000 a month.
So one of the reasons that you were able to afford that, you were sharing, is because you're staying at the long-term BLM land.
Yes.
For how many months are you going to stay here total?
Until it gets hot.
Okay, so by staying here for several months, you essentially have almost no rent.
Yes.
Okay, and then you'll stay at your sister's for a while, and then do you anticipate you'll come back here for the next season?
I do. What I want to do is, now that I will have the income to travel more, I had set aside money for that, and I'll be able to see things and do things. I mean, granted, I won't be able to climb a huge mountain or something, but you know, I would be able to do more things and see more things than I never would if I had rented an apartment there.
So let me ask you this: when you were working the 20 years, were you able to take time off and travel and see sights and things?
No.
So it sounds like you were experiencing rent increases also.
Yes.
Okay.
And the whole thing on that is, it's astronomical. I don't know how anybody that worked as old as I am I'm 64, that worked a regular job today, when they would go to retire with the Social Security money, they're not going to have the money to do that.
Right.
On their Social Security, not unless you had a rich relative.
So now let's talk about your preparation, because you were telling me you didn't just wake up one day and decide, oh, I'm going to, retire and go out and travel. So what was some of your preparation? Because you said it happened over quite a period of time.
About 3 years ago, I decided that this is going to be the thing I wanted to do.
You kind of saw the handwriting on the wall.
Yeah, and I seen that it wasn't going to get any better. So I started to, I bought the trailer, I stored it at my sister's house, I started buying the solar and all the hookups for that and everything I would need to be self-contained. And I bought the truck, was the last thing I got. And everything was all set. I set the insurances on automatic and all that stuff. So I'm all set.
So you started buying things over a period of time, a little bit at a time, and finally when it came time for you to quit and to give up your apartment, you were set and ready to hit the road.
Yeah.
That's a really smart way to do it.
My boss didn't even want me to quit.
I bet.
He kept making it harder and harder to quit.
So it sounds like he knew that you were a decent fella and took advantage of that.
Yeah, and I knew he was taking advantage of it the last couple of years since COVID, when he was getting tax write-offs and we weren't getting any raises.
Right.
He quit giving raises.
Well, how about we go look at your new, relatively new, because you've had it for a while, but new on the road, home on wheels. Would you be willing to do a tour for us?
Sure would.
Okay, let's go do that.